Kia ora Year 11 and 12. This video is going to look at negative powers, and it's based on Theta Chapter 1802. First I'm going to look at how they work with numbers and then with variables. So when we first learn about powers, the one we start with usually is squared. So 3 squared is 9. 3 cubed, 27. 3 to the power of 4, 81, and so on. So every time we increase the power or index, this goes up by 1. So now let's when we work those out, well, here we've got going up in multiples of 3. Okay, so 3 to the power of 5 gives me 243. So if I now look at going in the other direction, I can see that when I reduce the power, I'm dividing by 3. So what happens as we come down here? Well, we get 3 to the power of 1 is 3. 3 to the power of 0 is 1. But what happens if I just keep on going backwards? So that's one way we can think about negative powers. We're going to look at that a bit more on the next slide. Okay, so we'll give ourselves a bit of space. So 3 squared is 3 times 3. That's 9. If I divide by 3, I get 3 to the power of 1. If I divide by 3 again, I get 3 to the power of 0. Now we're going to work in fractions. If I divide by 3, I get 1/3. And if I divide by 3, again I get 1/9. And this is what a negative power is. So 1/3 is 3 to the power of negative 1. 1/9 is 3 to the power of negative 2. Right, so if you're not seeing that, that's 1 over 3 squared is equal to 3 to the power of negative 2. So when I have a negative power, it's the same as the reciprocal. I could write it as 1/3 squared is equal to 3 to the power of negative 2. So that gives me my definition of a negative power. So for any x, x to the power of negative k is equal to 1 over x to the power of k. Let's try some practice ones with numbers. Let's evaluate these. So pause the video and have a go at those. Leave them as fractions. Okay, so 2 to the power of negative 4 is the same as 1 over 2 to the power of 4, which is 1 over 16. 3 to the power of negative 3 is 1 over 3 cubed, which is just 1 over 27. 4 to the power of negative 2 is 1 over 4 squared, which is 1/16. Right, now we're going to start working with variables. It's exactly the same idea. Okay, so let's look at these. How can I write these things with powers in the denominator? So I want to write them just using positive indices. So I'll keep on going. So try those now. Okay, well, this first one is 1 over x to the power of 4. Now these number ones are a bit different. So I've got 4 times x to the negative 1. So that's equal to 4 times 1 over x to the power of 1, which is simply 4 over x. Right, what about this one? Well, it's 3 times x to the negative 5. So that's 3 divided by x to the power of 5. And lastly, 4y to the negative 2 is equal to 4 over y squared. Okay. So that's enough to do the easy ones in Theta 1802, and that's on page 272. So that should let you get through questions 1 and 2. I'm going to do separate videos about some of the harder ones in that exercise.